The Helghast Heavy Cruiser is a formidable but aging warship. It forms the bulk of the Helghast Fleet, and was a common sight throughout the conflict fought between the ISA, Earth and Helghan. But why choose to stick with this older design? Well, the Helghast understood that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So let's delve into the details of the heavy cruiser. Measuring approximately 500 metres in length from bow to stern, and spanning 200 metres across at its widest point, it's a big ship. And to put it into comparison, the largest aircraft carrier in the world right now is the USS Gerald R. Ford, which measures in length of 333 metres and a width of 78 metres. So you can see that these are large spaceships and can carry many thousands of people. No exact number is given, but based on the size and complements of supporting fighters that we'll go over later, a crew of around 2,000 people makes sense. This is less than the vessels we use now, but automation and advances in technology help with this, and around 4,000 passengers as the Helghast used this as a major transportation ship for its ground forces, and with its complement of smaller vessels, this number seems valid enough to me. At its stern, 6 Overlord dropships are mounted in reinforced deployment racks, allowing rapid deployment of infantry and armoured units. Though we never see the Overlord carrying vehicles, it likely is able to transport small vehicles. 6 is a low number of dropships for the size of the vessel, and the main way of deploying would be for the heavy cruiser to make planetfall and land. Additionally, the cruiser carries 22 Leech pods, with 11 housed on each side. These are used for boarding actions and shock assaults, allowing Helghast troops to forcibly breach and secure enemy vessels or installations. With the capacity of standard models of the Leech pod carrying a boarding team of 4 to 6 elite Helghast soldiers, it would mean a complement of at least 132 Helghast Marines would be on the heavy cruiser to make use of all of these Leech pods, and accompanying passengers could also be deployed via these craft. A ventral cargo hold runs along the belly of the ship, capable of housing heavy equipment, supply containers and military vehicles, and a snippet of text from the game shows us how they used to carry equipment with this quote: 1,200 units containing 15,000 items including assault rifles, SMGs and shotguns. A further 450 units containing high explosives, including grenades, rocket launchers and proximity charges. So it's not just a warship, but also a logistics vessel. For more sensitive material, a secure containment bay is located beneath the bridge, nestled between the server core and the engine room. This space is isolated from the rest of the ship and specifically designed to hold hazardous material, including volatile fuel, munitions or biological contaminants, and a perfect place to hold petrusite with its dangerous nature. Engineered for dual atmospheric and deep space operations, the cruiser is capable of re-entry and planetary descent using a carefully regulated parabolic flight path. This manoeuvre is executed at a shallow angle, minimising thermal friction on its armoured hull and preventing structural degradation during descent. Heat shielding and aerodynamic control surfaces assist in maintaining hull integrity during atmospheric entry. For manoeuvrability within an atmosphere, the cruiser utilises a series of large aerodynamic fins placed along its structure, most prominently at the forward bow and deck front. These help to stabilise the vessel during low orbit and near-ground operations. In the vacuum of space, secondary vector thrusters and gyroscopic stabilisers provide agility and control. The heavy cruiser is an odd shape compared to the newer ISA vessels. This is because they're based off the original colony ships owned by the Helghan Corporation. With resources being scarce and everything is recycled and reused on Helghan, this also stretched to the ships. So the design is not optimised in terms of warfare, though it allows the Helghast to field a far larger fleet than would be expected. The fact it's a previous colony ship means the ship is optimised for landings and use in low orbit, making it superb as an invasion vessel. Compared to things such as the ISA cruiser, which require a specifically designed landing area, the heavy cruiser is also a bit of a jack of all trades, with every inch used for something useful, but at the same time not giving the crew or passengers much comfort. Conditions on board are very basic, and most Helghast would rather be slugging through the mud than on an 8-month deployment trapped in this sterile, dull tin can. The command bridge is the nuclei of the heavy cruiser, and it's housed in an elevated superstructure mounted on the top side of the ship, protruding outwards. This structure is heavily armoured against direct fire and equipped with layered bulkheads, shielding critical command systems from bombardment, and it's the toughest part of the ship. The major issue is no matter how well defended the bridge is, there are many gaps in the armour of the heavy cruiser, and in a direct fight with a single ISA ship such as a cruiser, they will knock out multiple Helghast vessels before they even enter firing range, And with the ISA's advantage of being backed by Earth's military and having access to its technology, it's easy for the ISA to get the most advanced anti-ship weapons that can penetrate any known armour the Helghast have. One saving grace is its mobility, with the heavy cruiser being outfitted with 6 propulsion engines similar in design to those on the Overlord dropship. These engines are housed at the stern and connected by conduits to the main reactor, which is likely petrusite-powered, though this remains unconfirmed. The engine conduits serve as dual function, powering and cooling the propulsion system to prevent reactor overload during extended operations. And as we have seen the rapid development of Helghast energy technology, I believe they will have supercharged these engines to give the Helghast vessels immense speed over the enemy counterparts, so they can close the distance to get up close where they perform best. And a unique choice in the design are the floodlights located across the ship's hulls. These assist with visual navigation and illumination during low visibility landings, spacewalks or boarding actions. And with the Helghast's very thick sandy environment on the planet of Helghan, these floodlights would be absolutely necessary. Communications are managed through a folding transmission antenna positioned behind the engines, enabling long-range data bursts on encrypted Helghast military frequencies. Combat awareness is bolstered by an overlapping sensor array, formed by 4 modular sensor pods mounted just forward of the bridge between the dorsal fins. These modules form a redundant network for navigation, threat detection, and tactical coordination. The heavy cruiser's primary offensive capabilities come from its long-range missile batteries, housed in 3 armoured modules on each flank just forward of the engine clusters for a total of 6 missile batteries. These launchers can fire both guided and unguided munitions, suitable for planetary bombardment or ship-to-ship engagements. The effective range of these missiles is far shorter than the ISA and Earth's vessels, but the use of experimental petrusite munitions could be the key to winning the long-range engagements in the void. The unguided munitions have far more explosive payload and reduced fuel, designed for close-range broadsides so Helghan vessels that close in to hostile ships can wipe them out in one spectacular volley. For defence against aircraft and close-range threats, the hull is dotted with numerous anti-aircraft turrets offering a 360-degree coverage against enemy fighters, drones or boarding craft. And with a large number of heavy cruisers working together, they can create a large point defence network, giving a protective shield for the fleet. And enemy vessels would have to fire large amounts of missiles to overwhelm this shield. But despite this extensive armament and defensive layering, the cruiser is technologically inferior when compared to the ISA or Earth's capital ships, as we mentioned previously. The combination of these long-range missiles and Leech pods is how the Helghast cruiser wins space battles. By manoeuvring behind space debris or asteroids, the Helghast vessel uses these objects to hide their ships from enemy scanners, and once in optimal range they launch ahead with maximum speed, with the missiles attempting to knock out key systems on the enemy ships, whilst the Leech pods that get through the hostile defensive measures cause chaos internally. And with the Helghast normally having numerical superiority, this strategy can cripple entire fleets, but it's risky and the loss of Helghast vessels in void warfare is common. It's very much an attrition strategy. The Leech pods could also be loaded with explosive or exotic materials to make them massive guided munitions capable of blowing an entire ship apart. You'll basically turn the Helghast Heavy Cruiser into a fire ship, and it would be a very risky strategy. If the Leech pods are destroyed while docked or near the Helghast Heavy Cruiser, it would result in the ship being lost, and I imagine even the Helghast aren't a fan of the idea of being aboard a ship using these tactics. The Overlord dropships would be of little offensive use in void warfare, but can fill the role of rescue and retrieval of troops from space stations or damaged ships, and I think they would fill a similar role to the Raptors from Battlestar Galactica, supporting the offensive operations but trying to avoid direct combat. So that was the Helghast Heavy Cruiser. I just thought of doing a video on it because obviously I've done some Killzone stuff the other week, and there's not really anything on these ships, so I'd like to go through all the ships and various vehicles. Obviously some will be covered like I did in the Helghast 3rd Shock Army video, that had the Overlord dropship in detail, and the APCs and the tanks. But more videos to come. Hope you enjoyed, anyone. Thanks for watching, and as always, you have a beautiful evening.